Imagine this. You're standing on the edge of a cliff, heart pounding, mind racing, but there's no danger, just an overwhelming feeling that something, anything could go wrong. That's what living with anxiety can feel like, always on alert. Let's explore what's happening in the mind of someone with anxiety. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about anxiety to gain deep understanding and give you some insights on how to cope. Fear is actually a good thing. It keeps us safe. But with anxiety, that natural fear response gets out of balance. Anxiety is like a misinterpretation of fear, where the brain sees threats, even when there aren't any. And for some, anxiety appears out of nowhere, maybe after a traumatic experience. For others, it's a slow buildup over months, even years. And anxiety can be generalized, where someone's mind is filled with what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. We call that generalized anxiety disorder, or it might attach itself to specific situations, like social settings or certain phobias. Living with anxiety feels like your mind is on high alert, constantly scanning for danger. This doesn't just affect the mind, it impacts the body too. Shortness of breath, sweaty palms, racing heart, all of this can happen with anxiety. Everyday situations feel overwhelming. Focus becomes a challenge. Sleep, sometimes impossible. It can affect relationships, work, and lead to burnout. And the worst part? It often feels out of control, like trying to hold water in your hands. This constant state of what-if can become a huge obstacle in everyday life. And so, what's actually happening in the brain? Anxiety ties back to the fight-or-flight response. When you feel anxious, a small part of your brain called the amygdala, the area that processes emotions, goes into overdrive. It's like a smoke alarm going off at the slightest hint of smoke, whether there's a fire or not. And this overactive amygdala sends signals to increase heart rate, pump out stress hormones, and heighten alertness. But without a real threat, all this energy has nowhere to go. And that's why people feel jittery, uneasy, or on edge. Over time, the brain gets used to reacting this way, treating even small stressors as threats. But here's the good news. There's a way to manage it. Treatments like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, are highly effective for anxiety. CBT works by helping people identify and reframe their thoughts, breaking the cycle of anxious thinking. Medication can also help, especially if anxiety persists. And now here's a common misconception. Many think sedative medications will cure anxiety. Actually, while they help in the short term, they don't solve the underlying problem. And long term, they can lead to dependency. That's why therapies like CBT are so valuable. They address the root cause of anxiety instead of just covering it up. Anxiety might feel like a storm that won't go away, but with the right approach, it's a storm that can be managed. Understanding how anxiety works and the options for treating it can help you take control. And thanks for watching. Have you or someone you know experienced anxiety? Remember, you are not alone. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to check out our other videos on mental health. Hit subscribe for more insights.